So we've heard a lot today about the large amount of Stavely that's buried, and so we wanted to look at the potential for hydrogeochemistry to tell us something about the rocks that are buried. So in doing so, we chose a study area where there's known mineralisation, so that we could have a look at the chemistry around known mineralisation, and then we also took some samples as the mineralised rocks descended undercover. We collected 79 groundwater samples and 10 surface water samples. For the groundwater samples, we targeted the basal aquifer. We collected those groundwater samples from state observation bore networks, and the spacing of the sample collection is based on bore availability. So some of the samples were collected at 300 metres, and some were more along the 8.5 kilometre spacing. Samples for cations were filtered, but they weren't acidified, and samples for precious metals were concentrated on carbon satchels. For the lab analysis, we tested the water samples for major ions, trace elements, and precious metals, with decreasing levels of detection as you go down, and then applied statistical analysis on the results, plotted the results on cumulative frequency plots, and interpreted baseline and anomalous concentrations for a bunch of different elements. Then I grouped the different anomalous elements together in terms of what elements you'd expect to find in different mineralisation types, and I've developed 3 maps here in terms of basically what we saw from those groundwater samples. So for the porphyry copper systems, the important pathfinder elements that are grouped together are the arsenic, the moly, the manganese, the selenium, and the vanadium. You can see all the historical exploration drilling in the purple dots through here, but you can certainly see an elevated manganese, arsenic, selenium, and vanadium through this section through here. And then as you go out, so a lot of these are sort of within 3 kilometres or so of mineral occurrences. Then as you go out, you get a little bit of grouping between the moly and the blue there, and the arsenic and the red. So you've got moly and arsenic there on the Dryden belt, moly there on the Elliott belt, and again moly and arsenic here just off the Elliott belt, moly here over on the Narrapumlet belt, and again moly and arsenic just off the Karamat belt. For orogenic gold and intrusion-related gold, I've grouped together gold, silver, bismuth, tellurium, and selenium. The largest 2 gold concentrations that were detected were over here on the Dryden belt. So that's a nested bore site there. So they're the 2 highest gold concentrations. They're associated with tellurium and selenium also. They're potentially related to the Dryden belt, which is about 75 metres deep at this point, but there's also Whitehall gravels in the area, so they could be related to the Whitehall gravels. Again, through here you can see silver anomalies there and there, as well as gold anomalies through here. Potentially these are related to the porphyry system in the area, but they are also collected from sedimentary sediments, so there's other potential sources for those. And then as a final one, I grouped together pathfinder elements for VHMS systems. So we've got lead, zinc, thallium, low pH water, so sort of looking at acidic water, and then looking at sulfate. And I've measured sulfate in comparison to chloride to see when sulfate is elevated relative to chloride as opposed to its total concentration. We've got the Whitcliffe prospect here, which is the known VHMS prospect in the area. We weren't able to sample around the Whitcliffe prospect just basically to do with lack of boreholes. But we did collect a bunch of samples through here that were elevated for those key pathfinder elements. So that's an area that's about 5 kilometres by 7 kilometres, south of Lake Bolac. The cover there is between 15 and 26 metres, and it's believed that the Grampians group is what's sitting underneath the Cenozoic sediments in that area. So, key findings to date were that the pathfinder elements are elevated near known mineralisation at the camp scale. Certainly. As you move out into the district scale, there are clusters of pathfinder elements that are grouping together, and they've been buried between a range of cover thicknesses from 15 metres to 75 metres. It's important when looking at these results that you acknowledge that hydrogeochemistry will vary with local conditions in the geological setting. So the redox and the pH of the water will definitely have an impact on what your chemistry results are. And then also that hydrogeochemistry is an evolving technique in mineral exploration, but it's relatively low cost, and it's a low impact technique that can give you something further to constrain your target or to generate targets with.